$4 million in revenue. We spent about $1.8 million on Facebook ads. Hey everyone, today we're going to be covering the Facebook ad strategy that I use to scale one of my stores from $0 to $4 million in the span of 3 months. And without further ado, if you're new here, let's take a look at my Facebook ads manager so I can show you guys the results. So I've shown these results about 1,000,000 times now, but I'm showing it again because there's always new people coming onto my channel watching my new videos. So I want to always include some sort of results, especially at the start. So let's take a look at it. From March 1st to May 31st, we did $4 million in revenue. We spent about $1.8 million on Facebook ads, and Facebook doesn't track everything, so it only says 3,900,000, but we did about 4 point something. And I always make this disclaimer, but this is literally just a dropshipping store, not a brand, not any agency kind of work, literally just my own dropshipping store. So how did I launch these ads? Let's take a look at the strategy right now. So I started out with a $50 CPO campaign with 5 ad sets. I'm using the same ad for each ad set, and I'm just copying the existing post so I keep all the engagement. In each ad set, I'm keeping the settings as broad as possible because this product is really broad appeal, and I go into depth with that in my other video that I had on Facebook ads. The strategy that you use for Facebook ads is really dependent on the type of product you have and whether you think the product will appeal to a wide range people. I talk about it in that other video, but I'll mention it again. If you're running a really niche product, it doesn't make sense to target really broad as in 1 million, 5 million, 10 million size audiences. You're just going to be spending way more money to find the ideal customer avatar. When you're testing a niche product, you want to narrow your targeting down. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you guys the strategy I use for this store and this product, which is a broad appeal product. And with these kinds of products too, you're just able to scale way higher vertically. Okay, so we're in our ads manager now, and this is the very first day of testing. We only had one CBO campaign as mentioned at $50. So let's take a look at the ad set level. First day went really well. We had an ad set within the campaign that had a 10 return on ad spend, which is really good. So this was a really good sign for us that this was a winner. So let's take a look at the settings. We're using the purchase conversion event. We're targeting the United States, 20 to 65, all genders, and single interest. For interest targeting, you guys can just keep it really simple. For broad appeal products, just target any interest that is similar or relevant to the product. You can target the product itself, the niche, celebrities, magazines, brands, stores, and then you can use the suggestions tab right here to find new interests. Targeting all languages, auto placement, and 7-day, 1-day click. Really simple. So now let's take a look at the day-by-day breakdown of what the testing phase looked like. Here it is on the second day. We got no sales, but that's fine. Let's take a look at the ad set level, which is actually where we should be reading the data. So at the ad set level, clearly we got no sales, but we want to be looking at the lifetime of the actual campaign. So let's take a look at that. 13th to 14th, which is 2 days. We still have a profitable ad set within the campaign, and the other ad sets have barely even spent. They're not even close to the break-even point. So don't be misled at the return on ad spend at the campaign level, especially during the testing phase. Again, at the start, we want to be buying as much data as possible and trying to stay as profitable as possible. Right now, we're not even profitable, but that's fine. We're not really expected to be profitable, but if we are, all the better. Now let's take a look at the third day. So no sales on the third day, but again, we want to be looking at the ad set level. We haven't even spent near the break-even point, and our ad set is still profitable. On the next day, the same thing happened, but we were getting a lot of purchase intent. So from there, I'm like, okay, what can I do to optimize that area? What elements are working? And I'm not guessing. I'm always monitoring the changes, the results, and you can do that easily with apps like Hotjar, with apps like VO, and take a look at your analytics for all that stuff. Just really follow the best practices in terms of conversion rate optimization and then work from there. Again, at the ad set level, we're still profitable and our ad sets have not spent to the break-even point yet. The next day, here's where things start to really take off. Our campaign got 2 sales that day and we had a return on ad spend of 4.83. Now let's take a look at the ad sets that brought in those sales. So the campaign is still unprofitable, but it was performing better than before. We're just under break even now, so we're just going to keep letting it run and see where it goes from there. So on the 18th, which is the next day, our campaign got 2 more sales, and let's take a look at the ad set level, and we see that our campaign is now profitable and at a 1.96 return on ad spend. We got 1 ad set that's absolutely killing it, and we're not touching anything during the testing phase. We're just letting Facebook run. I also created a new campaign to test more interest, so that whole campaign is going through the same process as the first campaign. And during the testing phase, you're being a little bit more patient because you're still buying data and Facebook is learning who your ideal customer is. So the next day after, we didn't touch anything, but we got 3 sales on that original campaign. So now that campaign, if I can filter it, show you guys the lifetime stats. We're now actually at a 2.68 return on ad spend. I'll give you guys a quick refresh. So now this campaign is taken off and we know this is a clear winner. So now that we know this is a winner, we want to start scaling it very fast and aggressive. I'm going to show you what in between the testing and scaling looks like. So here on the screen, I have all the campaigns I made between the 19th and the 29th, which was where I last left off. We created a lot of campaigns where we were testing video content lookalike audiences. We were testing 25% video views. We were literally testing almost everything that had populated, and whatever worked, we're just killing it right off the bat. And then we're going to go back later on and test it again because it's still pretty early. Like, we haven't spent a lot of money yet to gather more people into those audiences. We had a video content lookalike audience that worked really well, and let me show you guys how I structured that campaign. So within that campaign, we segmented the lookalike audiences by 1%, 1 to 3%, 3 to 5%, 5 to 7%, and 7 to 10%. This is just standard horizontal scaling. It's Facebook's algorithm mostly doing the work here. It's nothing special about how I segmented the lookalike audiences. You can do 1%, you can do 1 to 2%, you can do 2 to 3%. I'm just making it really broad because that's what Facebook recommends, and the algorithm works the best when your audiences are broad. Again, if you're targeting broad, your product has to be broad appeal as well. When it's niche, you're gonna have to target very narrow at the start, but as you scale, you're releasing the rules. A Facebook algorithm will be doing most of the work. So that's how I laid it out, and I'm just doing this for every campaign pretty much. So now let's fast forward to the month where we did $1 million in revenue, and I'm going to give you guys a quick refresh. We're doing the same thing that I showed you guys, just testing a bunch of lookalike audiences from literally 3-second video views in 1 day to 7 days to 14 days, even testing Facebook engagers, Instagram engagers, pretty much everything. But we're also running all sorts of retargeting: 1-day retargeting, 3-day retargeting, 7-day retargeting. And one of the biggest campaigns we ran was actually 1-day retargeting campaigns. So here in our $2 million month, let me do a quick refresh. One of our biggest campaigns was 1-day retargeting along with 7-day retargeting. It spent the most out of any other campaign, and I adjusted the budgets a bit, but we were literally running this at $4,000 a day at one point and the other one at $3,000 a day. And the return on ad spend, as you guys see, is absolutely killer at 3. We had a 3 return ad spend on the 1-day retargeting and a 2 on the 7-day, which is absolutely insane, right? Another thing we were doing too was running campaigns that had 0 targeting. So we're formatting in the same way where we have 5 ad sets, but those 5 ad sets were literally no targeting. So literally it just had an age group of 20 plus, and that's all we had. The only thing we were targeting was the country itself. We were leaving every stat as default, whatever Facebook gave us, and just creating a bunch of those campaigns. We were testing campaigns at all sorts of budgets. We were duping it at $250, we were duping at $500, we were duping at $1,000, and we're killing what didn't. We were killing whatever didn't work. We were killing it aggressively too because our account already had a lot of data, so we're going to get sales really fast, especially at such a high spend. And a quick tip for you guys too: you guys can measure the performance of your new campaigns really easily by just looking at the added cart instead of waiting for it to reach break-even point. We're looking at the cost per added cart now, and these are just scaling tips and tricks that I explained in one of the case studies that you guys can find in the description. Check that case study out. It's going to go way more in depth than whatever I'm showing you guys on the screen right now. I just don't have time in a single YouTube video to go over that. But check it out, I think it's worth your time. You guys will really love it. I put a lot of effort into it. So I showed you guys the Facebook end, but Facebook wasn't the only channel we were focusing on here. We're using retargeting through Pinterest. We're using retargeting through Google. We optimized our upsell funnel. We made sure we're hitting them with downsells, upsells, different kind of offers. And we're measuring each test and making sure we're optimizing it, make sure we're to incrementally increase our conversion rates on each stage of the funnel. And that's gonna add up, especially at scale. And then from there, we're just taking that blueprint and applying it through to our other stores and just tweaking it. So you guys will literally form your own strategy as you guys become more experienced and spend more money. I really want to put an emphasis on back-end channels too, especially in 2021, and a very big emphasis on getting good creatives right off the bat as soon as you start making money. It's really important. That's one thing that's gonna make you last on Facebook too. When you think about the root cause of Facebook bans, a lot of it is coming from just copying content or just having non-compliant products and just violating their policies, right? So what are their policies? Figure that out and just attack it from there. So hopefully this video was useful to you guys and it gave you a sense of what goes into scaling and what the testing phase looks like. And I wanted to remind you guys to watch that other video where I go a little more in depth with the Facebook ad strategies and how to approach everything in 2021. If you guys like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys want to see in the next video. We can go into email marketing, we can go into the back end, we can go into copywriting, whatever you guys want to see. I'm trying to give as much value to you guys as possible. Check out my case study too, guys. It's in the description. I've been working on this really hard. Again, I'm learning just like you guys. I'm still a student at everything. I'm not an expert. So I'll see you guys in the next video and hope to grow with you guys in 2021.